In this video, you're going to learn all about sugaring versus waxing. My name is Aimee and I'm the Savvy Sugaring Educator from Tamras Sugar in Scandinavia.
I'm Aimee and I've been waxing for over 20 years and I'm now a sugarista. I've been converted. I'm a former waxing expert and you're going to see in this video why I choose sugaring over waxing.
In this video, you're going to learn how to save time, cut costs, and have way better results. So let's head into the treatment room so we can hear about all the amazing benefits of sugaring versus waxing.
So on this leg, I'm going to use strip wax.
Okay.
So first I'm going to cleanse with some alcohol spray. This is just to dry any moisture off the skin.
And now I'm going to be cleansing your sugaring leg with a pre-sugar cleanse. And just make note that I'm not touching anything at all with my other glove. This glove is going to be going into the sugaring container, so it's very important that I don't cross-contaminate. So that I'm simply touching only your skin with this hand.
And then I'm going to use just some regular talcum powder.
And now I'm going to use a body tonic, and this is to ensure that the skin is completely clean. So it's antibacterial, it's also anti-inflammatory, and also it's very, very hydrating for the skin. So with sugaring, it's completely opposite to waxing in a sense that we need your skin to be as healthy as possible in order to extract the hair effectively. Whereas with waxing, from what I understand, it needs to be quite dry so that the dead skin really protects the healthy skin from being torn off when you're doing waxing procedures. And now I'm just drying off any excess moisture. And then I'm going to be using a drying powder, the same as that leg, simply to make sure that there's no moisture on the skin. And so now you're all prepped both for sugaring and waxing. Have you ever tried sugaring before?
No.
Okay.
No,
and have you tried traditional waxing?
Yes, I have, and I must admit that sometimes it's been quite painful, so this will be a brand new experience for me.
And what kind of waxing have you tried? Was it with the strips or was it like a nice thick paste?
It was, well, both. I've tried both,
Okay.
with the strips and with the paste.
Okay.
So I'm going to take some wax. So with waxing, we're applying it in the same direction as the hair growth, a thin layer. I'm going to take the strip. And we're removing the hairs in the opposite direction of growth. And as you can see here, it's leaving some of the hairs. It's not getting them all. How does it feel?
Yeah, okay. Slight tingling when you rip off the paper.
So now I'll go ahead and grab my sugar paste
Okay.
with my clean sugaring glove. It's really beautiful when it comes out. So it's just sugar, citric acid, and water. So it's entirely natural, which means that it's actually very good for the skin. It's really good for the environment. And it's basically an edible hair removal product. So I'm not sure you would be able to eat the wax.
Definitely not. And wax is very, very hard to remove. If you spill it on the client's clothes, on the bed, on the floor, anywhere, it's really hard to remove.
So I'm actually applying the sugar paste against the direction of hair growth, which means that it's going to fold those hairs back, and then it's going to penetrate inside the follicle, really seeping inside the skin. And now when I'm going to be extracting in the natural direction, it's going to remove the hair entirely from the root without any hair breakage at all.
It feels beautiful.
So that
Smooth.
is the extraction process of sugaring. And that's it.
Wow.
So the first time we extract, because the sugar paste is water soluble, it's quite soft right now and it's very hot in this room and it's very hot today. So it does need a few removals for that purpose. But as it starts becoming the ideal temperature, I can move quite quickly.
So one problem when you're removing the wax in this direction against the hairs, you can risk the hairs breaking and snapping. Which then leads to ingrown hairs. And of course the hairs are going to grow back quicker because it's just like shaving.
This leg definitely feels a little bit more tingly after you've done the wax.
Yeah.
This one I have I am not feeling anything at all.
Okay, and I can also see that your hairs are growing slightly like this now on this part of the leg. So I'm actually going to really seep that sugar inside the follicle. And the benefit as well is I don't need to keep going back and forth to grab more paste, that I can keep working quite effectively and efficiently. And the great part about sugaring as well is that your hairs are quite short for waxing, but with sugaring, it's actually the ideal length, that this is really great. It doesn't need to be so long, which means you don't need to save out your hairs. And it's very comfortable for my body as well as a practitioner, that I feel quite comfortable to work in this sense, and I don't need to keep going back and forth to my wax pot. I can just use the same ball of sugar, which means it's actually very cost efficient. It's better for the environment. These are actually biodegradable gloves that I'm using, and the sugar itself is also biodegradable, so there's no harm to the environment whatsoever.
When you use the sugar, is it just this one that you will use on me?
Exactly.
And then you will throw it away?
Exactly. So there's no risk for cross-contamination at all.
And it seems to be getting into the knee joint really, really well.
Oh, definitely.
Whereas
Exactly.
this one looks a little bit messy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. One tricky thing about sugaring is that it definitely requires a technique, so education's super, super important, and therefore that means that the sugar paste itself actually requires a full understanding. So you might see now that my paste is slightly warm. So I'm going to let that sit. I'm going to let it work. You have a bit of dead skin, so it's going to kind of work like a skin mask. It's softening up the skin so that I can extract that dead skin.
And your wax was getting a little bit hot, actually.
Okay. See how because you're a little bit dry here, so the wax is really sticking, and that's where you have to be careful, because really you can only go over the skin with the wax once or twice.
Okay.
3 times is probably too much, because once you start kind of getting stuck on this dry skin, it can actually start ripping off live skin cells.
Exactly.
So now I'm going to just remove this part that's been kind of resting on your knee. And you'll notice that it's really taking off all that excess dead skin without removing live skin. So there's no risk for ripping off live tissue, just dead skin. And that's actually why you might experience that it's a bit less painful than the waxed leg, because it's impossible to extract live skin cells, because live skin cells are full of water and nutrients, and therefore we can't take them off. As you noticed with the waxing, she said you can maybe go over the same spot like 2 times. With sugaring, I can actually go over more and more and more times, because it will not, virtually, it's impossible to hurt live skin if you're doing the right technique.
Okay.
So I'll just look over.
Because there was some shorter ones left,
Right.
I can't go over it again, because I've already gone over it twice. So now I'm going to have to tweeze all of these little ones that are left.
Yeah.
Which obviously takes more time,
Exactly.
because if I go over it again, it's just going to be too much for your skin.
What's interesting is Aimee is a waxing queen.
I used to do a lot of waxing.
Yeah. So you saw how quickly she was able to work and effectively. However, now she has to go over with tweezers, and I don't need to. So have a look. Look at the health of the skin.
Exactly. And I can feel it. Here is a little bit bobbly on here.
Okay.
But this is really, I mean, smooth.
You can still feel some here, because it's not...
and especially
they're
on
all
the
gone.
Or the hairs could have been broken from the wax. If your hairs are a little bit stronger, I usually find that they will snap, because you're removing it the wrong direction.
Definitely, I can feel this one feels a lot more healthy than this. Here you can still feel a few little bobby bits.
And we usually just double check that we didn't miss any hairs at all by using our forearm. And then I always ask my clients to look it over as well.
So now we have a little bit of wax left over that is not coming off the skin. So I'm going to try and remove it with a wet towel. No. So it's not going to come off with water. What I'm going to take is a little bit of oil. Not really coming off. So this is the one good benefit about sugar. If you do get some stuck, you can remove it much easier than the wax.
So now I'm going to take the sugar off of the sugared leg with a wet, warm towel. So you're just going to see how easy it is to remove that nice chunk of sugar if you leave with little sugar bits. So because it's water soluble, I don't need to use oil or anything at all. I just use water. So if I happen to drop it on furniture or on your dress, then I just need water to remove it. So there's
And you
no
can
staining.
still feel here, it's not quite got everything. So
So you might leave
you'll
a little
probably
sticky.
find, especially if you're putting your pants, your trousers back on, that it's going to feel sticky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's one thing with the wax. And then maybe when you have a shower next, it'll come off. But it's much harder to remove than the sugar. So now we're just going to apply some body lotion.
And you've applied the body lotion basically to build up the moisture back in the leg.
Exactly, just to
Okay.
calm and soothe.
And now I'm going to be rehydrating the skin as well. So I'm going to use this body tonic, which is going to rebalance the skin's pH level. It's also antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. So when you're drawing up hairs, you can also be drawing up any skin oil or bacteria. So we just want to make sure that you're leaving with very sanitized skin. And now I'm going to be using a soothing oil and a moisturizer as well. I just simply blend them together. So the soothing oil is like a cocktail of nourishing ingredients. It also has tea tree oil, which is also antibacterial. And it's a water-based moisturizer with aloe vera, which is very calming and soothing to the skin.
Well, this one definitely feels a lot more refreshed, if I can say that.
Okay.
And this one actually feels with the body...
Still a bit sticky.
It is a little
Yeah.
bit sticky. If I'm going to put my trousers
Even
on
with
later.
the cream?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Even with the cream. Overall, all around, I would definitely take the sugar paste. It just feels more comfortable, more relaxing. This is still a little bit tingly.
And even though that wax was a sensitive skin wax. And the recommendations afterwards, both for sugaring and waxing, is not to go swimming or go to the gym or be in direct sunlight. Simply because when you're sugaring and waxing, you're actually removing all the excess dead skin. And therefore you wouldn't want to get burned on your skin. And now how would you remove it? For example, you got a little bit on the table over there. What would you need to remove that?
Then you would need wax remover.
And what is it? It's like a chemical or
Yeah.
something? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
you need to wear gloves basically to use
Oh, really?
it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm going to take some pre-wax oil. Now I'm going to take some of the hot wax. So now I've just applied and removed this section here, but as you can see it hasn't taken all the hairs, there's still some left, so I'm going to have to go over it again, but remembering I can't go over it more than twice in this area because it's going to make the skin too sensitive. So there's still some hairs left in that area there. I'm just going to have to tweeze those now because as you can see the wax is making the skin quite red. So you definitely don't want to go over that area again.
So now I'm going to go ahead with the sugar paste to remove the underarm hair using our sugaring hair removal. So now as you can see, these hairs here are actually growing down. So I'm going to take that sugar paste and I'm going to apply it against the direction of hair growth. And then we will be removing the hair in the natural direction. So as the hairs are growing this way, I'm going to extract them that way, just like you would if you were to tweeze your eyebrows. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove it. So stretching the skin, and a nice one clean shot. They're all gone. Not a single hair is left. So now I move on to the other area. I can see these hairs are actually growing that direction. Gone. And these ones are growing. Mostly, they're all growing up. So I'm going to apply down. The paste is only heated at 37 degrees, so it's essentially body temperature. So there's absolutely no burning whatsoever. I can go over here, there's just one single hair, so I don't even need to tweeze afterwards. So now I'm just using one finger technique in order to extract even the shortest hairs. So remember, with sugaring, we don't need the hairs to be very long. They virtually just need to be sticking out of the skin. So in fact, I don't even need to waste time by going to grab my tweezers or anything like that.